It's been a concern of mine, and it should be a concern for all wheelchair users. When we go out in the streets and we have to cross those streets, it is pretty grim. The statistics, a 2015 Georgetown University study, one of the few of its kind available, found that 528 pedestrians using wheelchairs were killed in traffic collisions between 2006 and 2012. That puts a wheelchair user's risk of dying on the road at roughly 36% higher than a pedestrian on foot. Now, those are grim numbers. However, I believe that we can change that. I really do. And the Department of Transportation has their role to play. The counties and the cities have their role to play, but we also have a role to play in crossing streets and not get hit. Now, you might say, okay, Lisa, what are the tips? What are the tricks? And here we go. Welcome to World Wheelchair Warriors, where we talk about everything wheelchairs. And I talk a lot about safety, but I talk about a lot of other things. But this is one of them that I post from time to time, so it's up front and visible for all of us. So I think one of the things we can do is to not wear dark clothes, wear lighter clothes when you're on the streets. The other thing, a few tips I use on my wheelchair, reflective tape on my wheelchair all over. So in the back it's red, on the sides it's white, and in front it's yellow. And manual wheelchairs can also do that. They would have to get more flexible, thinner tape to wrap around their wheelchair if they wanted to do so. Mine is a power wheelchair, so I get the thicker reflective tape and I stick it all over my wheelchair. So that's the one thing I do. However, there are a lot of other things that we can do. One of them is the clothing. The other thing is to wear a safety belt. This is what, guards and joggers wear. So I wear this. If I know I'm going to be on the streets for a while, then I wear one of these. Then, we're shorter. We're shorter. And drivers don't see us. If they're close to us, they don't see us. They turn around the corner and they take us with them. So one of the things that I do is that I use one of these. And I put it higher than my wheelchair. I put it higher at a height that the driver can see it. So I'm higher and they can see the flag and not hit me. So you can make one of these. You can buy one of these on Amazon. They're not too expensive at all. I think like $10 or something or less. So we can make ourselves higher. And using one of these that will help us be more visible. So there's a lot of tricks that we can use. And you can make a flag if you want, and raise it above you so that it is at the height of the car windshield. So the driver sees, oh, there's something there. I need to be careful. You need to know all your tricks on how to get up and off of sidewalks. Sorry about that noise. I'm just folding this up. There are tricks that you need to learn in manual wheelchairs and power wheelchairs, how to get off and on sidewalks. Some have sidewalk cuts, what's called sidewalk cuts or sidewalk slants to get off. And for power wheelchairs, we can't go straight down, but we have to go at an angle. For manual wheelchairs, if there is a very steep dip, you know how to do the wheelie. You have to practice the wheelie to be able to do that, and make sure that you get off in a normal, safe way. You've seen my head flashlight already, so if you're going out at night, uh, this would be very useful. You can see the road. You know, I can bend this down pretty far. You can see the road where you're going and all the potholes and cracks that you need to avoid. So this is also very helpful. And you can keep your hands, you know, free for power wheelchairs. And for manual wheelchairs, you can continue to propel yourself without worrying about your flashlight. So this is a very important tool as well. I use it when I'm coming back from church because the parking lot is dark at this time of year, and it keeps me much safer. The cars see me when they're pulling out. So this is another trick you can use, especially at night. Some roads have lights, some don't. So they have stop signs, or they might have nothing. So you really have to wait your turn and just go when there are no cars. If there's stop lights, then, you know, here in Milwaukee we're having trouble of people going through the lights. Like there's nothing there. They just go through. So I don't have a solution for that other than just, you know, really wait and make sure nobody's speeding down the road. But, you know, bright colors, you know, in your clothing, make sure you make yourself taller with a flag. I don't care what kind of flag it is, just make yourself taller. Manual or power wheelchair. I have a telescope. I have a telescope bar on the back of my wheelchair where I put my flag, and I just make sure that I'm visible. I really don't care to get hit. I have enough issues. Most of us do. So, you know, a lot of people have a lot of confidence in crossing the streets, but there are some people who are not the drivers of cars and they just go without looking. And so we need to make ourselves taller, people. So if you know that you only you're going to stay on one side of the street and you don't have to bother with anything else, well, great. But some of us do have to cross very busy intersections. My side of the road is, you know, I'm kind of in a outside of the city of Milwaukee. However, the roads are very wide. We have a lot of traffic, buses, and everything else. So the roads are very wide, and I have to get across in time. People get impatient, and it's not fair to us. So I make myself taller. I make myself, you know, a band. There's no way they can't see me. So I just keep that in mind. So I think we can bring that number down. That's 36%. I believe we can bring it down. But we all have to put in our 5 cents in making ourselves visible so that cars do not even think about hitting us. So my question is, can you do it? Can you get a flag? Can somebody donate a flag to you? Can, you know, do you sew? Can you make yourself a flag? I don't care how you do it, but make yourself taller. And then if you can make yourself, you know, get one of these that goes across. I have one that's complicated and, you know, it's a whole thing. But that one makes me uncomfortable. It's kind of hard to put on and take off. The other thing is your clothing. Make sure you're dressing in light clothing when you go out, especially at night. Use reflective tape. You know, you can get reflective tape on Amazon, and you can get the thick kind that I use for my power wheelchair. You can get the soft kind of tape and wrap it around your manual wheelchair. whatever you decide to do, but do something. Even if it's one thing, make yourself more visible so that drivers don't have an excuse to hit you. Bad driving. I don't know, drunk drivers. You know, we have a lot of issues of bad drivers out there. So, and that's what drives up the number in part. And the other part, we need to do our homework. If we're saying don't drive and drink or don't drink and drive, we need to say to wheelchair users, make yourself visible before going out on the streets. And maybe I need to repeat that message often here so that we start doing that, you know, from A to Z, from India all the way to California to China to Poland, you know, for us to start doing that to reduce that number. Then 36% is here in the United States. I can't even imagine what those numbers look like in other countries that don't have signals, that don't have stop signs, and it's just nuts. It's a free-for-all. So I want to offer those tips to you, and think about it. Think about what you can do, what you can afford, and I will put some links and some costs of what it would be for you to get a band or to get a flag or to get some reflective tape for your wheelchair. I will put those down there so you have resources to do that. And maybe we on our channel can start a movement in which wheelchair users begin to do that so that we can bring down that 36% to zero. I want to see it at zero. So that's, as your mother would say. And another thing, if you're crossing railroad tracks, manual wheelchairs need to do a wheelie so that your casters don't have any contact with the railroad because they can get stuck. So do a wheelie across the railroad. For power wheelchairs, you need to go in an angle, okay? Do this and then this. So just at an angle so your casters don't get stuck. Because if you get stuck in a railroad, there's not going to be a whole lot of people around to get you unstuck. That's what I wanted to say. I'm hoping you are on my side, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And please feel free to do a like, to do a share, to do a subscribe. There's always new information that I throw out there for all of us. And thank you so much for coming. And guess what? I'll see you in the next one.